Okay, my friends, this over here is one beast of a Ryzen Mini PC. I don't think we can actually call it Mini PC. This is a mini workstation. Do they say that here? Mini workstation. I don't think Minisforum even knows how good this is. I'm looking at the specs over there, and they're like underestimating what it can do. It's absolutely ridiculous. This guy here has 16 cores, 32 threads, and it's basically this type of power in here. And there's a lot more. Let me show you what's going on. It's so annoying. I don't want to pay hundreds of dollars to just change my Windows wallpaper just because my Windows isn't licensed. Well, why don't you try hookies? That's a ton cheaper. And if you use the code TN20, you get it even cheaper. What do you mean? How do I get it and how is it possible? Well, see this video here, or the one you're watching. Click in the link on the video description, add the Windows 11 CD product to the cart, proceed to checkout, add the code TN20 for the extra discount. So what, the Windows 11 Pro OEM key is just $23.22? Yeah. Choose the preferred payment option and complete the purchase. The key will be available on the purchased orders in a few moments. Copy the key and paste it into your Windows activation settings, and you're all done. Oh, that was easy. Is that Ryan Gosling? No. Anyway, by the way, the same discount code also works website-wide, so go check out other products, maybe like Microsoft Office. It says 16 cores, 32 threads, and you're thinking, yeah, we've had that before, 7945HX. Actually, 8000 series, we didn't have anything like that. This is Ryzen 9 9955HX. This is basically the 9950X desktop version, but mobile. Somehow they've just cut it down to 100 watts. It's gonna be extremely powerful, and I'm curious, how good is it against the desktop 9950X variant? Like, how much do we actually lose because the desktop is pulling over 200 watts? This is only 100 watts. Can we get even more out of it? Can it actually cool it down? It's absolutely ridiculous. HDMI cable, kettle leads, U.2 to M.2, I think, or M.2 to U.2. And then we have the power block in here. This brick, literally, is 240 watts, which is interesting. The actual CPU pulls 100 watts, so we have extra 140 watts for other things. I'm wondering if we can push more than 100 watts out of that. If you've been here before, what we're gonna do is we're actually gonna test this, and then we're gonna tear it apart, see what's inside, if we can improve something. So let's set this guy up. Okay, the Mini PC is on, and as you can see, we're on Task Manager right now. We've got our CPU in here. We've got, change the graph to logical processors. Look at that, 32 threads going, and right now the speed is 4.9 gigahertz, but it should go a lot faster. We'll see that in a minute, how fast it can actually go. Memory, we've got 32 gigabytes of 5600 megatransfers per second. Now, Minisforum on their website says, here, look at that this can support up to 96 gigabytes of, here, DDR5, up to 96 gigabytes, okay? They probably don't know is if you go on Amazon, you can get this crucial SODIMM kit for 128 gigabytes. That is ridiculous. 5600 megatransfers per second, so 64 gigabytes per DIMM. That is a lot of RAM, $300 for that. It's mental. So they're underestimating how much RAM you can actually put in there. I don't think there should be a limit to the CPU, how much it can do. It just needs a BIOS update probably. In all theory, it should support over 96 gigabytes of RAM. That is pretty crazy. Now we've got an NVMe there, and this is a Kingston something drive for 1 terabyte. I've got my USB 4 drive in as well. And then obviously it comes with the integrated Radeon graphics, and I think it should actually have a driver for that. But the biggest thing, what I want to know is how does it actually handle all of this? As you can see, while I've been setting up the PC, one of the first things I did was hardware info 64 installed. We can see that the CPU is already gone to 90 degrees. And if you look at the maximum CPU power draw, yep, it's gone to 100 watts, 99.796 watts. In terms of clock speeds, core clock speeds, the maximum we've gone to is 5.4 gigahertz. That's insane. Now, I want you to remember that we did a test with the 13900H, so the same mini PC with the Intel CPU, remember that? And it was ridiculous. Now, there was also the AM5 socket version of this with some limitations, not as good, maybe I/O for a server. This is on a whole nother level. So we're gonna compare how good is the performance now between them two. I wanna see multi-core go, and then now let's take a look what happens here then. Core clock speeds, oh my goodness, is it all core boost of 4.3 gigahertz? Yep, we're pushing 100 watts through here. Let's take a look at the CPU. There is some warmth coming out from the back in there. You can hear the fans. They're not like properly kicking in here, but we've already dropped the wattage down to 85 watts. The interesting thing is, I think Ryzen is actually cheating in terms of the thermal throttling. Whenever I've been testing this here, it never says thermal throttling. But the thing is, if it wasn't thermal throttling, it should actually push through package power draw of 100 watts, but it's only pushing 85. So it's 15 watts lower. The core temperatures are good. The hottest point of the CPU is 85 degrees right now. Core clocks are 3.9. As you can see, it's slowly dropping the clock speeds, just under 4 gigahertz. Okay, we're reaching 90 degrees there, still pushing 85 degrees. The fans kicked in a lot faster. And when they did, I can see the actual package power draw going down. Oh my goodness, are we gonna beat the M1 Ultra? We are, and it's gonna be a lot faster than the M1 Ultra. Look at that, our package power draw has gone to 74 now. So we're 25 watts less than what it can actually push through. It is 28.8 degrees in this room right now. It's quite warm. We're not pushing quite 4 gigahertz anymore. It's like 3.6. So we've lost quite a bit of power there. First test is completed here. It went quite hot in there, 90 degrees. The whole thing, chassis is quite warm in here. I mean, look at the temperature, but it's nice to see that a lot of the cores can go to 5.4 gigahertz maximum boost, which is amazing. Now, that 1,727 points, how good is that? What you can actually see on this screen is a lot of the test benchmarks, what I have done here. And we got 1,727, which is faster than the M3 Max. That's quite ridiculous. Now the 9950X gets 2232 points. So we're somewhere roughly around the 9900X kind of territory with this one. I'm wondering if we actually improve the cooling somehow. Is it gonna do a better job? I'm gonna put this on the floor where it's a lot cooler than in here to see if it can pull some of the cool air and actually perform a little bit better. But right now we're roughly around the 9900X benchmark. And I think right now it's the temperature that's the issue that doesn't let it boost. It says not thermally throttling, but it really is. I have put that on the floor there, and while it's cooling down, obviously I'm not going to do this test right now again, but there's a few things I want to do. I want to go to the BIOS and then put the fans at 100% at all times so we can see if the actual clock speeds are going down. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to open Cinebench R23. So this is a previous version of this, but this test runs shorter time, which means that we can see probably the higher clock speeds before the power pulls down. So let's see if that is exactly what happens. Press go, and then now let's take the temperatures here. 100 watts. If you're looking at the core clock speeds, we're just over, look, 4.1 gigahertz, 3.9. The average clock speed is a lot higher. Package power, look, we've gone to 85 watts, but boom, we got 34,000 point score. So I'm gonna do this test again to see if that is the highest score that we can get. CPU package power draw, 100 watts. The temperature's rising. Don't pull the power down. Don't do it. Oh, 90, 85, boom. Yeah, 34,824. Now, this is crazy because if I'm looking at the actual benchmarks there, then we're getting higher score than the Ryzen Threadripper 3960X. It's crazy. I mean, we're getting roughly the 7950X performance there within margin of error, which is pretty amazing. Now, is it quite as good as the 9950X? I think we still are performance limited in there, so we'll have to see if we can fix that a little. So firstly, let's see if on BIOS we can actually get the fan speeds going. So we restart and then hit delete to get into the BIOS. Okay, BIOS, here we are. We're gonna go to setup. We're gonna go to advanced here. CPU configuration, nope. There we go. Fan speed, we're gonna put that to performance. I just want it to be absolutely maximum there. There is AMD overclocking there. Precision boost overdrive. Enable. Let's see what happens. There is advanced as well, PBO limits and all these things, but we just put it to enable and see what happens. Okay. Well, what happened right now is fan speed, performance, not auto, and PBO is on. We'll see if we can pull more than 100 watts. Windows updates. Let's see if we can pull any more power than previously. Let's go. Kind of the same performance, 34,336. The fans are louder kicking in now, so I just want to see if we keep it going. The fans at the higher speed, look, we're 84 degrees there. Is it going to keep the 90? See, no, it drops it down even lower, faster. We're going to get lower score now, 34 something, 33 maybe even. See, it's about the temperature. We are thermally throttling, definitely thermally throttling. I've got an idea. I'm gonna go for lunch and let it cool down. Let it be completely cool and just leave it there. And then see at absolute like cool PC, will we get any higher scores than this? Okay, just put the PC back on again. It is completely cold. We're gonna hit go now. Let's take a look. What does it do now? 100 watts, as you can see, it is definitely lower temperature. Let's see if it can keep that 100 watts now all the way till the end. It almost feels like there must be a timing limit or something like that on, but it definitely was higher score, 35,133. Let's try it one more time. Look at that. Core clocks start from 4.1, and as the temperature rises, the core clock speeds, no, still like kind of 4.1, and then now it just starts going down, boom. Probably lower now than 35,133, yeah. So the cooler it is, the kind of better it performs, but 35,000, that's quite insane. Now remember when I tested the 3900H on this? So this is that video, and then look at that, oh my goodness, 15,000 points. So we are getting literally double the performance compared to the MS-A1. So this is MS-A like A2. We're getting double the performance of that. That is ridiculous. So then when I put the 7950X on the, remember the MS-A1, so this is A2, but the first version of this. Let's take a look at the results of that now. Look at that, it's 3.4 kind of all core boost, whereas we were getting now 4.1, 25,000. We're getting like 40% higher score with the MS-A2. Oh my goodness, it's absolutely ridiculous compared to the 7950X. The performance per watt is crazy for this PC, and it's absolutely ridiculous. So now what we're gonna have to check out is what's inside. So before we take a look at that, we'll look at the front panel I/O. There is 3 USB type A ports, one USB 2.0 and one USB 5 gigabits in speed, so USB 3. Mic and headphone combo jack, power button there. There's a grill there that obviously injects some air into the chassis through there, kind of like a blower style. On the sides, there is no ventilation. On the bottom, there is ventilation. As you can see, there's a grill and you can get some access to certain things in there. In the back, we've got some insane ports. So obviously this grill here is where the exhaust is for the CPU cooler. So it just comes out from there. sucks it in from the front and kind of blows it out in here, or from the bottom. I'm not exactly sure. We'll see that in a minute. Power plug. Then there's two USB ports here, but actually there's an interesting thing. This is 5 gigabits and this is 10 gigabits in speed here. HDMI, USB Type-C. I'm not sure why they're not putting this as USB 4.0, because it should be USB 4.0. Then 2.5 gigabit LAN, and then two optical 10 gigabit SFP plus ports, which is insane. So as you can see, this is like workstation. Networking capabilities here are absolutely mental. You have also this one PCIe slot cover in there that we'll see how we can access that. Oh, and look at that. You can just open it by pressing that button in there, and then you can just slide it off. There's actually no reason for you to unscrew this, which is really, really handy. I mean, look how easy this is to work inside what's going on. Okay, so in terms of airflow, it sucks in air from the top of the case and then blows it out from the back. The CPU cooler, we talked about that, that goes through. We'll take a look at that in a minute. There is PCIe expansion slot in here. It is very, very narrow, and it's shallow as well, if that makes sense. So you can't fit everything in here. I've seen some of the guys fitting in like some low profile A2000 RTX Quadro cards in there, which you can put there if you want, like GPU kind of power or extra networking. But the cool thing is it does support bifurcation on this PCIe slot. Now, even though it is like the full size X16, the marketing is a little bit confusing here. The bandwidth to it is actually PCIe Gen 4 X8. So even though it's full size, there's 8 PCIe Gen 4 lanes, and you can split it to 4+4 if you wanted to. So that shows that we can maybe get even more extra storage in here if you find some kind of an interesting card that supports that. There are plenty of them actually available on Amazon. That's really cool. If we flip it around the other side, we can see some other slots. So you can see there's another fan in here. There's PCIe M.2 slot that is just bare bones in here. It's got a heatsink on, but we'll take this fan off in here. Okay, so that fan takes intake from the bottom and then blows it out from that side. It kind of blows over. Ooh, so it's got active cooling on the actual networking port. So there are two chips separate for that 10 gigabit in there, and it blows in there, just making sure that your networking is not overheating, and it kind of blows over these NVMe slots as well. Now, it says an interesting thing on their website that all of these three are actually PCIe Gen 3 X4 by default, but you can manually change them to PCIe Gen 4 X4. And the good thing is the standoffs and screws are included, because sometimes they don't. So if I'm going to take this M.2 SSD off here, it's quite a long screw. Interestingly, previously there was a U.2 switch, so whether you can switch this slot here to U.2 or M.2, because there's different voltages, you had to be very careful to put anything in there, because you might fry your M.2 SSD if it's on U.2. But this time it doesn't have that in there. Remember in the box there was this card. So basically with this, once this goes, I think connects into there, and we can put that into there. As you can see now, the screw goes in there, and now you can put U.2 drive in there. And I think with this cable, when plugging it into there, we're giving that drive extra voltage. So now we're bypassing the actual like confusing bit that, oh, is it U.2, M.2? I can actually get it screwed. So now, boom, put in U.2 drive. But the thing is, the U.2 NVMe, you can get up to 15 terabytes capacity, which is ridiculous for NVMe, and this is PCIe Gen 4 X4 slot. Then you also have extra 2 slots in there. You can put 8 terabytes per in there. I'm not sure where they get their stats from, because if this is 15 and then you can put 8 plus 8 in there, that's gonna give you 31 gigabytes of capacity rather than 23, which again, they seem to be underestimating what's available with their device. The crazy thing to me is how fast they come up with a new generation, because it's only been a couple of months and then boom, a new one's out with change in design. They've changed certain things. So things that can be improved, they've improved, and then they've left kind of most of it the same, which is really nice. Now, there's really nothing underneath here to do. You can change the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth card, but it does support Wi-Fi 6E. So it's plenty for that. Now I'm gonna put this back back because we don't need to be on this side of it. I want to go on this side to actually see what's going on. So if you want to change the cooling, this is very fine Phillips. Oh, that's pretty cool. Kind of a design that goes over. There's no tape that goes there. It just blows over just like that, which is pretty cool. But this fan also cools down the RAM sticks here, which kind of is a little bit of a downside for this, because that shows that this heatsink and this fan might not actually, you know, be the coolest. So it's not just intaking cool air from the top, because the bottom has these grills in as well. It takes some of the hot air from the RAM and then blows it through, which just kind of heats it up a little bit in there. So I'm going to take that fan off, but it is quite a thick fan. I'd say 15, 16 millimeters, 18. I was off by 2 millimeters. Now, in order to get this heatsink off for the CPU, I'm going to have to take this kind of insulation off, because there will be some screws underneath somewhere. Wait, is it just 2 screws? Surely that can't be right. There's got to be more than that. Well, it does seem that there's only 2 screws. They wanted to isolate the heat in there so that the heat doesn't get transferred to anything else. Yeah, there's only 2 screws, but let me try to figure out how is it stuck in there. I suppose push it that side. Is that what the deal is? Aha, there is a sneaky screw in there as well. So once that is off, boom, what we can see underneath is the heatsink. We've got some thermal paste, which obviously has gone quite dry there, and then boom, our Ryzen 9 CPU just down there. In terms of the heat design, there is only 2 heat pipes. As you can see, these go through 3 screws and it screws down. You've got a lot of copper kind of plate that takes there, and then the heatsink that, or 2 heat pipes that go behind it. Wow, look at this. I've never seen a golden die. Look at that. That's golden die. It's gold color. Usually this is always silver. So, I've got Thermal Crisply Cryonaut Extreme here. I don't think this is their latest. Wait a second, I think I have Duronaut as well. So ultra high performance, and this is long-term high performance. Sounds like the Cryonaut Extreme is better. So let's use this one here. Whoa. So this is pink. Do you know what? I'm not sure how many people would actually use this. I'll use Duronaut. Big blob over that gold die. I think that's the IO die on the top, and then some on the bottom. I'm really caking it in here. Then I'll use the spatula. Just spread it around. Oh yeah. Okay, I put way too much, but okay. It's absolutely covered now. Line it up. We'll put this back. Fan goes back. Okay, putting it together is just as simple as this. Let me plug it in. So, let's see then if that is any better, this thermal paste application. I press go, and then let's take a look at this. Now, 35,000, just over 35,000 points to beat. Package power 99, same. 35,000. Now the temperatures were better, but there seems to be some kind of a time and thermal limit, like Intel has PL1 or PL2. It doesn't show it in here, but it does seem like that's what's going on in BIOS. Let's try that again. Even though our thermal paste there application, I believe, is better than what was there, the temperatures, yeah, it went to 85. So not necessarily performance increase if you change the thermal paste. I think there could be a lot more power in there if you wanted to, if there was, the cooling was a little bit better. But for that 100 watts, I think 35,000 point here in Cinebench R23, that is insane. So then what I want to do now is see the actual core clock speeds if we're going to do the single core test as well. So I'm going to press go on the single core. Let's take a look at the package power draw on a single core test. About 40 watts. Oh, goes down to 30. Interestingly, the die is 80 degrees now and 31 watts, something like that. And as you can see, we are boosting to 5.4 in certain cores. 5.4, actually slightly above 5.12, 5.4, 40. So the conclusion of this PC, this is absolutely ridiculous. This MS-A2 from Minisforum, I don't know how they developed the product so fast. The CPU performance is absolutely ridiculous. The expandability is ridiculous. You can have so much storage on this. If you want to make yourself an insane SSD NAS or something like that, I think it's going to be a little bit of an overkill CPU performance, but a proper workstation rendering machine, that's ridiculous. If you need something like that, this is the one for you. Networking, ridiculous. The only kind of downside, what I see, is screens. There's only one HDMI port unless you update this and put a better GPU or something like that in there. But for now, only one HDMI, that's the only downside. I mean, what can I say? If you want to check it out, go check it out in the links below. As always, there is different like CPU versions of this available. You can get like the Ryzen 7945HX, but the 9955HX is like 40% what I'm seeing here, roughly better, which is ridiculous. The performance increase from the previous generation is night and day. It's, in fact, compared to the desktop 7000 to 9000, this has seen a lot bigger increase. 7000 to 9000 desktop, not that much of a difference. This 7000 to 9000, wowchi mama, massively increased. Plus so much RAMs. I mean, I hope the video spoke for itself. Links in the description below. Thanks guys for watching. God bless. Bye bye.